In this lesson, I will explain to you how to make the histogram and relative histogram. What is the difference between histogram and relative histogram? So first of all, I will explain to you the definition of histogram. Histogram is a graph that displays the data by using vertical bars. So see, this is the important point, that when we make the histogram, we have to use the vertical bars, because we have different kind of graphs. We have a pie graph, we have a line graph, so many other graph, but here we have to use the column graph. I will show you how to make it, which shows the vertical bars of various heights, and these heights depends on the frequencies. These are the frequencies to represent the frequencies of the classes. One more time I will read this definition. The histogram is the graph that displays the data by using vertical bars of various heights to represent the frequencies of the classes, and on x-axis, on the horizontal axis, we have to take the class boundaries, not the class. Here I have made this example for you. Suppose this is the class, and in this class, suppose these are the kids. First class belongs to kids whose ages are from 6 to 10. In the next class, 11 to 15 years old, 16 to 20 years old, and then these are the adults, right? So suppose, and then how we make the class boundaries. Class boundaries from the first class, this is called the lower limit, this is called the upper limit. From the lower limit, you have to subtract 0.5, so it will be 5.5, and in the upper limit you have to add 0.5, it will be 10.5. Similarly, from this next class, from 11 you have to subtract 0.5, it will be 10.5. On the upper class you have to add 0.5, it will be 15.5, and so on. And these are the frequencies. Suppose in this range we have 10 kids, in this range we have 6 kids, in this range we have suppose 14 adults. So these are just the frequencies, and we have to show these frequencies by using the vertical bars. So here I am going to show you how to make the histogram. Here we have to use the class boundaries and the frequencies. And the first step, always keep in mind, first step, you have to select the data. If we will not select the data, we cannot perform any function. So these two columns we have to use in order to make the histogram. So select this. Then from where we will go, we have to go to the insert tab. Insert tab, these are the charts group. So in chart groups, if you could not find from here, you can click on the recommended charts. Here you will find out all kinds of chart, but here I will show you this one. Open this and this. So here you go. On the x-axis, I told you that there should be the boundaries. So this is the boundaries from 5.5 to 10.5, and these are the frequencies. These are the kids or the adults, right? But the important thing is that in histogram, all these bars should be joined to each other. See, there is a gap. There is a gap. You have to remove this gap. You have to join these bars. So how? Just see, there is no circles. These graph is not selected. When I click on these bars, so you can see this small circle. These are there, right? I will remove this, and one more time. In any bar, you can click it. This circle will come up, and then you have to right click on your mouse, and then see the last one, format data series. Click here, then this format data series will open, and from gap width, this one, just make it 0 and close it. So see, this is actual the histogram. There should be no gap between these bars. Now in order to make it more prominent, I will shape fill, go to the format tab, and then open this, and then we will make this, and then shape outline. Suppose if I say red in this case, what should be the weight? Open this, go to the weight. If I say this one, so this one is fine, right? So this is the title. If you want, you can change the title. Just click here, and suppose here I want to write down histogram. You can write down histogram here. Now here I told you these are the boundaries, these are the frequencies, but if you want to write down here, what you have to do, there are 2 or 3 different ways. Simplest ways, see, this is not selected. If your graph is not selected, you cannot see the format tab and the design tab and these 3 icons here. When you click here, these 3 will come up here, and there is chart tool design format is also there. So click here, I will show you. First is the axis title, this one. Just click here, axis, it's the check mark. Now here you can write down what is on the x-axis, what is on the y-axis. Suppose in x-axis we have here class boundaries. So write down. These are the class boundaries. On here we have frequency. Here we have frequency, right? And see, the other function I will show you from the design tab from here. The same function you can perform from here, but here click on the design and add chart element. Open this, same thing. Access title, primary, this one, chart title, where you want to write down above here, center here, see. So you can try this, data levels. This is important thing. See, these are the frequencies. So here, if you do not write down frequencies here, you have to read from here. Okay, the first one 5 to 10.5, there are 10 kids belong to this, and this is the 6 kids belongs to this range. But it will be much more easy if you add the data label. Suppose here in the center you want to write down these frequencies in the center, inside end, inside base. Suppose in this case I say inside base, right? So you can, there are too many other functions. We do not want the legend this in this time, so this is okay, right? And from here you can change the color of your graph as well if you want, the histogram, right? So I think this histogram is fine. So see, again I will read. The definition is a graph that displays the data by using vertical bars. So these are the vertical bars. So this one is the highest. So we will say from 30.5 to 35.5, in this range we have 14 adults, right? Okay, suppose if I will change the figure, this frequency from here, if I will made it 20, so you can see the difference here as well. See, it is 20. I'm not going to change here now. So this is the histogram. Now we move on to the relative histogram, relative frequency graph. What does it mean? If proportions are used instead of frequencies, before we were using the frequency, now we will use the relative frequency. Which one is called the relative histogram. So how we will calculate the relative frequency? This is the total frequency. How I have calculated this total frequency? Just make this, and this is the submission. So here is 44 total. Adults and kids are 44 total frequency. So relative frequency, always keep in mind, in Excel you have to start the formula with equal to sign. Do not write down 10, just give the cell reference. This is C7, C7, and then divided by total frequency 44, and here 6 divided by 44. Here you can use the other method as well, but I am doing this, so in this way you will learn more. 4 divided by total frequency equal to 2 divided by total frequency, and then 14 divided by total frequency. So this is the relative frequency. Frequency divided by total frequency. Frequency divided by total frequency. This is the relative frequency. And the important thing of the relative frequencies is that the sum of relative frequency should be 1. It is necessary it should be 1. So see, it is 1. So it means we are okay. Now we are going to make the relative histogram. We have to use the class boundaries and relative frequency. In the first histogram, we have used class boundaries and frequency. But here we are using class boundaries and the relative frequency. So you have to select these two columns. How come? First you have to select this. Press and hold Control key on your keyboard and select the second. Do not select this one, right? Go to the insert, same thing, open, and this. So this is your relative. So I told you that these, all the bar should be joined. So what you have to do, select this, right click, format, and from here you have to remove the gap. Again, go to the format. This time suppose I will make this, and then weight is, lines are this. If you want, Data labels, other things you can write down from here. Right, so this is the relative histogram. So we have learned the relative histogram and the histogram, and we have seen the differences between them. In relative histogram, we have to take the relative frequency, and the sum of relative frequency always should be equal to 1. If you still have any question, please write down in the comment section, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel Saima Academy. Thanks for watching.